I do want to give a proper introduction to Brian Ragazzi as well. So Brian Ragazzi, he's got a background in mathematics and computing and drives a lot of innovation across data management, AI, ML, security, and privacy. He's the distributed systems lead here at Quai. And he previously led cloud native and automation initiatives at major companies, including a medical technology infrastructure company with provable accuracy. We just saw some examples of that from Diego as well. He's a devoted champion of open source. He co-founded the San Fernando Valley Linux User Group, and he's fostered a thriving community of engineers and developers. He's also a Scale OG and has spoken here at Scale, back at Scale 5X, so we're super happy to have him back. I'll ask you all a few questions now and get some conversation going. Please, I'll go to each of you as I did the last time. These are for all of you, and Reza too, if he wants to join. He'll come later. He'll come. Let's start with you, Daryle. What's the importance of fundamental scientific research in AI advancement? We're all talking about big shiny toys, but more about the fundamentals. What are the importance of remembering the fundamentals?
Well, because fundamentals power everything. All the new and latest and greatest tools that are being put out there, they're all based on the fundamentals. So if you don't have a good understanding of how things work underneath the hood, then you can't really know how to push these models, these technologies further. So by spending a lot of time kind of understanding how these models work underneath the hood, the fundamentals, you can figure out how to actually make them go farther and stretch them against their limit. Yeah.
Balaji.
Fundamentals. Okay. So I'm not a research fellow, but fundamentals definitely form the very basis of what you do and how you function. How you take, for example, talking to the ChatGPT or anything, right? The questions you ask matter, in a way you ask matter, that comes from the foundation that you have laid and the fundamentals that you've learned. So I think that's how I approach the problem, yeah.
Brian, thoughts?
The fundamentals are definitely important. This is a very complex field, and I think nobody understands every part of it entirely. There are a lot of subtleties to it, and there needs to be, to sort of spin the question a tiny bit, there needs to be more understanding of the fundamentals in the AI community, because, for example, there are a lot of people using LLMs just for everything, like doing clustering, which they're old school, machine learning techniques for. There's a rich history of machine learning and NLP, natural language processing, that has been going on for 40 years. And there's a lot of problems that are already solved, and people try to resolve them with LLMs, and there are certain things that LLMs are very good at. And so I think understanding the fundamentals helps you utilize the right tools for the right things.
Well said. Reza, and would you pass the mic there, Daryle? Thank you.
So look, we launched a research work stream at Quai right from the beginning, because we felt that fundamental AI research is so important to correct the three glaring problems of AI. One is we need to make AI smarter. And you heard from Dr. Galliano of how we're pushing the boundaries of graph RAG and applications of it to make it smarter. Then the next was to make it faster. You heard from Daryle how we're breaking out from the quadratic nature of AI's scaling and exploring linear processes where you can scale AI in a linear fashion. So that makes it smarter, faster. And then the third big glaring problem in AI is it's got a disastrous carbon footprint. So we wanted to make it greener. And bringing AI down from the clouds of the oligopoly and to run at the edge is exactly what Balaji and Brian are doing in making models run distributed in a peer-to-peer fashion, in a collaborative format. And that is strength, that is power. So bringing AI down from the clouds, and there's no interest. The key vendors that control, maybe half a dozen vendors that control AI at the moment, have no interest in making AI run at the edge, because that would break down their moat, the moat that they have around that SaaS business where you're all paying $20 a month for. So what we're doing here is vitally important, Matt. We have to research fundamental AI because no one else is going to do it. It has to come from a non-profit, volunteer, open source movement. So I'm going to get off my hobby horse and, and hand it back to you.
Well said. Brian, I'd like to start with you here. How do you keep informed, and how do you suggest we all keep informed of advancements in this field? And, so we can also stay agile and taking advantage of them. How do you suggest we compose our systems to take best advantage of these different advancements?
Okay, so there are a few different things that I think you've asked there. First of all, how I keep abreast of it, well, one of the best things is joining an organization that's continually talking about it like Quai. All the time there are conversations going on and people bringing in new technologies and techniques and that sort of thing. So that's a good place to start. All the social media feeds, once you start reading into enough of it, it'll lock onto that and start throwing all kinds of stuff at you. So that's one place where the algorithm actually works in our favor. But how we can, you asked how we can build systems.
How do we take advantage of the advancements as they come? How do you suggest we design systems to take best advantage of advancements?
Well, this is going to be very familiar to people attending an open source conference, but having these be as open as possible, having any technology that comes out, if it's not open source, have open source equivalents of them built as soon as possible, and interoperability. Being able to take these different parts of the system and put them together, that's going to be really important.
Well said. Balaji.
Yeah, so when I think about, for the past 2 years or so, I've been following the trend. Technical or non-technical, I think one of the things I learned to avoid is the influencer marketing, because a lot of the stuff that floats in the social media are a glimpse into what it can do, but it's not all what it can do. Probably everybody has the unique experience. Either you don't have access to that technology, or there's something that happened in the lab and they put a video out of it. The best way I found is, because I've been in the startup business, I play with code, I play with technology, So if you're technical, please do play with technology. Don't refrain from it. Don't be afraid of touching it because it's something new, and you probably, again, I'm not ashamed to say I know Fortran. I know COBOL. It doesn't matter. But at this point, people are latching onto the trend called vibe coding, right? Vibe coding is essentially ask something, copy paste into the thing, press debug, doesn't work, copy paste it back, loop, rinse and repeat. And you're learning as you're going through from the system, and you're feeding it real world data. And it's okay, because now we are upskilling ourselves and trying to match the speed at which technology is moving. That would be my recommendation for technical folks. For non-technical folks, please get involved in Quai. There's a lot of think tanks that we can learn and tune our thought process towards what's coming, and participate in the movement.
Well said. Daryle.
Awesome. So I'll echo probably first some of the things that Balaji and Brian said, but I'll also say that there's I constantly get hit with because I follow social media a lot. I have a couple of influencers that I follow closely on LinkedIn, which is why I'm more active. And then even just popping on the feed, sometimes you see a lot of news about different types of AI models that are hitting a market, and new tools and technology, and sometimes it could get even overwhelming for me. But what I like to do to kind of keep focus is just kind of pay attention to what are the common kind of pay attention to what are the tools that I need to use kind of right now on a day-to-day job. Or what I hear a lot of my friends and colleagues talk about, because chances are if I hear like 5 or 10 people talking about the same thing, it tends to be this is probably the most relevant for me to focus on kind of as a professional. I can spend some time looking at some of the new tools, kind of get familiar with it, like maybe read some couple of blog posts about it, read some YouTube, watch some YouTube videos, try to understand, get a sense of what the tools are, and then, if it's useful for my job, then I might spend some time kind of diving deep into it. So just kind of learning how to get kind of like the, kind of a breadth of the tools that are out there and kind of picking which ones to focus on the most is what I do, and kind of using some of my current responsibilities and what other people I hear talk about, kind of be as a guide to what I should probably spend the most time learning. Because there's a lot of tools out there and it could be overwhelming. And just getting involved with organizations like Quai and, other networks where they talk about these tools a lot is one of the great ways to, keep abreast and take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. Yeah.
Matt, there's so much noise out there. It's not knowing what to listen to, it's knowing what to ignore. And so I've built a kind of filtration mechanism where I filter out the sort of mainstream noise, the cheerleaders of the status quo. I kind of filter those out. I start looking for the fringe voices that are not heard much, and that's just an instinct that I've got for filtering my news feed and curating it. So there's little interest in the mainstream players to push the advance, and in fact, when there are radical advances that would improve the performance of the technology and show that it's actually not that hard, they all get upset about it. What happened when DeepSeek came on the market? They all got upset about it. The stock market had a complete hissy fit. That's not in our interests. What's in our interests is if it is easier, if it becomes more accessible so that we can wield AI ourselves, if they maintain this myth that it's really, really difficult and it can only run in our clouds with the moat around it and you have to keep paying for it, that is not a message that I want to perpetuate. And those people that do are just cheerleaders for the status quo. Off my soapbox, back to you.
No, well said. What to pay attention to, what not to pay attention to. Final question here. We'll get to the policy section next. What developing area of AI research has you most excited right now? Apart from the ones you just presented, of course. Balaji, why don't you kick us off?
For me, I think based on the progress that we have made within Quai itself, I'm more interested in learning about the state space model, because the primary handicap of what we have demonstrated here is they're autoregressive. Essentially, every token has to be looped back 32 blocks again and again until the whole sentence forms. And the state space models parallelizes this process, and that would give tremendous speed boost. The second part I personally am going to focus is how to do distributed training. Now we got the inference taken care of. Now it's an optimization problem. How can we actually do training? And Petals has framework for that too. So essentially, we are entering the era of intense personalization, I feel, where model is going to become a product. Now, when that happens, you want to be able to train your own model the way you want to see fit. And when that happens, would you go to the cloud and train it? Would you train it in a community? Do you train it in your own PC? You should have freedom to do that.
Well said. How about you, Daryle?
Let's see. So aside from my current research on state space models, one research area that I've been particularly interested in is multi-agent systems, just kind of understanding how you build these agents that can actually work together and actually do some really cool, interesting things. Agents have been a lot in the media a lot lately, and I just think it'd be a cool area to kind of take a look at. And how do you actually, and on top of that, how do you actually build agents of because one of the limitations of agents is like the memory, like after a certain period of time, you know, the agents can only remember so much information, and after a particular time, it just starts hallucinating and just doing crazy things. So we'd really love to spend some time kind of investigating memory, like how can we actually improve the memory of these AI systems so we can actually do a lot more and, you know, retain a lot more of the information and propose some more cool stuff out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Brian, how about you?
Well, okay, besides what we're working on, okay, because I came in the door at Quai already really excited about distributed training and inference and all of that. I would say probably at this point, sort of twofold, the agentic type work, but plugging it into things that we already use a lot, say in the Linux world, plugging it into real functions of your operating system. Not, okay, now it can do some browsing for you. That's also good. That's also very important. But there are a lot of functions that we deal with every day using computers that people aren't paying as much attention to. And I think the agentic model could work really well with that and really revolutionize how we use computers. And that kind of ties into the second thing, which is that 20, 25, 30 years ago, there was this little operating system no one had heard of called Linux, and there were big companies that did not want to see Linux succeed. And the open source movement fought that back, and now Linux is very well regarded. Some people would say it's dominant. Most of the operating systems installed are actually Linux. We're at the same point with AI. We're at a place where it's kind of niche, at least the real work in it. Lots of people are playing with the stuff by OpenAI, but that's kind of like Microsoft 20, 30 years ago. And people think that they have to be dependent on that rather than liberating people and being able to use this technology themselves. So I think I'm excited to see the open source fight over the next 20 years like we've seen over the last 20 years for Linux.
Well said. Reza, last word briefly.
Yeah, briefly. So the thing that excites me is an opportunity to look at AI differently. And I spoke about this last year. We've kind of treating AI like the only hammer in our tool belt. And so every problem, if the only tool you have in your tool belt is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And so we're using AI, we're using probabilistic models as the way of solving all of our problems. Well, it turns out that not everything is probabilistic. Some of them are purely deterministic, but there's also a mixture of the two. What's exciting me about what Daryle's working on is the possibility of taking a probabilistic model, which is most of our language models, and being able to extract from it a deterministic model and a smaller probabilistic model. So what would that look like? For language, the deterministic model would be the grammars and the syntax of the language. Well, we know what those are, but these could maybe be extracted from the LLM, and then the remaining model would be a whole lot smaller, and hey, more computable, hey, more accessible for all of us. Not just something where your words go up to a cloud and have to come back. So that I think is gonna emerge, where we start seeing AI as a bit more nuanced and not just a completely, what did I call it last year? I said it was the height of intellectual laziness, where you look at a problem and say, well, I don't know what the physics is behind it, but I'm going to just throw in all the historical data and try and predict what's next, what's the next word or whatever. We're still at the foothills of that type of exploration, but come to Quai, and we're having that conversation, and we're doing real cutting-edge research. We don't want to pre-announce stuff, because that just wrecks our credibility. But when we've got stuff to demo, as Brian and Balaji showed today, we will demo it. Come and join the movement.
Well said. Well, thank you to our panel. Appreciate you.